Today I'm gonna go over the 2026 RX350, and there's a lot of cool new features that Lexus has added for this year. Now, I might be a little biased because I work for Lexus. However, I think this is still one of the best luxury midsize SUVs you can buy in the market right now. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see why. Comment below if you like this style of video and if there's any other cars I should do this on. And if you want to see more Lexus content, make sure you go check out our Lexus channel, Performance Lexus. So what better way to kick off the 2026 RX than to use an all-new package for us called the Blackline Edition. And in previous generations and cars, we've seen the Blackline Edition, and sometimes it's a base model with, you know, some lipstick on it, and sometimes it's much more than that. And in this case, it is much more than that. This was technically the most fully loaded RX350 you can get right now. In fact, one of the employees here owes me lunch because when this car was parked outside, he told me, oh, that RX500 over there was stocked in wrong. And I said, what 500? And he said, that silver one. And I knew that it's actually a 350 Blackline Edition and not the RX500. And that gives you kind of an idea of what this package means. It makes it look super sporty like the 500H, especially with the brakes and stuff like that. And still doesn't sacrifice any of the features. So let's talk about the RX and why it is already so powerful in this late model year. Now, this model of RX came out in 2023, and it had some big shoes to fill. In 2016, the last model change came out and shook the market. It was already a very growing class, and the 2016 made it even more bold and you know, kind of sporty, that appealed to a whole new demographic. In 23, we were a little nervous because, you know, we had this new grille design, we had this new platform, we had this nose that kind of everybody was like, oh, what's gonna happen there? And the momentum that 2023 started continued in 24 and 25. So for 26, Lexus decided, well, let's add a couple cool things, but keep it the way it is. So let's talk about that a little bit. So this one being the Blackline Edition, it is fully loaded with a few extra goodies. One of those extra goodies is this black body kit that you see. I think they call it a black sport design or something like that. So there's piano black on the bottom of this front grille and the sides, and I'll show you that a little later. We have our spindle grille that fades into that nose that I mentioned here. That's some design language that we saw start to come out when EV was a topic, because you know, you'll see EVs don't have big grills. This one still has a big grill, but it fades away into that nose. We have a really defined air intake here that is true and active, and that hides some more, you know, sensors and things like that. We have a beautiful frosted and very sharp daytime running light that you can see right here, and there's the signal above it. Also, a triple beam LED headlight system. Now that also tells me this one has the intelligent adaptive high beam. I know that's a mouthful, which if you haven't used before, if you live on a dark road, it is the best headlights ever, because if a car is coming towards you, instead of just like turning those high beams off, it's just gonna turn off where that other car is and keep everything else really well lit. Of course, below that we have our classic headlight washer. So when you hit the jets and your headlights are on, it'll clean the salt and debris right off of that. Now, the color here is called Iridium. Iridium on the internet website looks just like a regular silver. Looks like classic silver actually, which is a Toyota color. It's so much more than that in person. This reminds me of the Porsche GT silver, that pictures don't just do it justice. There's a lot of shadowing there. There is a lot of reflection. It shows the body lines quite well, especially at different angles. And let's be honest, it's the easiest to keep clean, and because it doesn't show scratches or anything like that. Now, I have heard when it does show scratches and you have to paint it, it's a little bit of a pain because it is a really advanced color. But if that's the worst thing, I mean, whatever, I'll take it. On the hood, we have these really defined lines that sort of, you know, create a little bit of a bold look. Now, keep in mind, this vehicle is equipped with a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that's mounted really low. So even though you're in the high 200 horsepower range, it still feels like even more than that, especially in the handling side of things, because it's mounted lower, and that platform was a really big way for us to be able to do that. Now for the side profile, and stop number 2 on the Blackline Edition features, that is this unique wheel. It is a gloss, a very glossy black. Lexus does have other black wheels for the RX, on the 500 in particular, that's like a matte finish. This one, totally gloss and shiny, and that pairs nicely with, you guessed it, a bright orange brake caliper. Now, as I'm filming this, it's almost Halloween. That's perfect for that. However, I do just like the way it pops. I think a colored brake caliper, whether it's red, whether it's orange, whether it's yellow, is always an accent that I really like to see. Also, since this is the F-Sport model, we have a huge brake. This is massive. It's a 6-piston caliper, a multi-piece big brake. And I know at first people are like, oh, this is gonna be so expensive to replace. Eventually, yeah. But it's gonna last very long because that brake is not working that hard to stop this vehicle unless you're on a racetrack, which I doubt many people are driving this on the racetrack. Also, since it's the F-Sport model, we have our F-Sport badge here in the fender. That's always a big telltale. And we see some active venting here as well in the corner. As we zoom out, you're gonna see a little bit more of that black line, particularly at the bottom. I noticed a lot of cars, a lot of SUVs these days, have that textured plastic at the bottom of the door panels and at the bottom of, you know, any panel that's close to the road. This one being that it's painted the piano black is cool to see. I don't know, you can definitely see a sharp contrast between that and this very soft iridium silver. Also, it matches the mirrors very nicely because the mirrors are also piano black. This one has the panel roof, so when you're standing beside it, you can see, you know, that next to these roof rails that are all matched with the piano black. We have chrome along the windows, an electronic door handle, by the way, which if you check out the Lexus channel that we have, you'll see me talk about that quite a bit because it's just so pleasant to be able to exit the vehicle by just pressing a button and pushing out instead of, you know, a 3-step, multi-step process. Now again, you can hear Lexus is known for being very high in craftsmanship and build quality, and you can really hear that when you shut the door. I always get that when people are like, oh, what's the difference between Lexus and Toyota? They're the same. Literally just shut the door. You'll be able to hear the difference. Also, I'm 6'1", so you can see how high the RX is. I know a lot of times people can't tell on the internet the size of it. This gives you a little bit of an indication. I'm standing beside it. I can just see the roof here. As the car goes back, it starts to swoop down. We got some big chrome pieces here. We have that third glass that kind of is all tapered off. Then towards the back of the vehicle, we have a whole other thing to look at here. My favorite being the taillight. I'm a big taillight guy. What could I say? Let's see if that turns it on. Yep, there we go. We have this gorgeous taillight from left to right. It reminds me of Porsche. It reminds me of other high-end luxury vehicles. And my favorite part is it underlines those letters, LEXUS, as if it's trying to, you know, make sure you see that this is a Lexus. You can see in the bottom corner, we have RX350 all-wheel drive. A lot more of that piano black. In fact, this is probably where I noticed it the most, is on that back lower bit, because it's so much bigger than, you know, the rest of the black body panels. You'll notice we have a hidden wiper up here as well. So that's always a favorite in places where it snows, like where I live. The size of the trunk of the RX is another fan favorite. In fact, it's such a nice height to be able to load stuff in and out of that even if you're, you know, in the last few decades of your life and you think, well, why do I need a big luxury SUV for? It's easy to load stuff in and out. If you're in your first couple decades of your life and you think, well, I could just, you know, get something else that's less expensive and use it utilitarian, this kind of checks the boxes on both of those. We do have a special carpet back here, I hear, for this Blackline Edition. It says F-Sport right in the center. It's very crisp lettering. Again, one of those things that a lot of people cover up and a lot of people don't use. We also have our netting here that kind of folds out. We have our tonneau cover, which is great for hiding that case of beer that's sitting in the sun all day as you're at the beach. And the door is quick and smooth to open and close. Let's check out the interior though. Okay, so checking out the interior of this well-appointed RX350. This is the black interior with a gray stitching is how it comes. I like the gray stitching. It kind of brings out a little bit of the dimensions. When it comes to the RX, again, I work at Lexus. I get to see these and drive these all the time, but it's been a while since I have. Like I've been driving, daily driving, an IS300 for pretty much the entire summer. And I forgot how special the inside of the RX is and how much I like it. And that's even me being spoiled with, you know, a number of other cars over the last 6 months. One of the things that I love right away is the Alcantara, or as Lexus calls it, the Ultra Suede, on the door panels and on the sides of the seats. I think it just adds a little touch point of some luxury and some comfort, and just again, some high quality materials. I'm a big fan of that. Lexus did a great job. I also really like the F Sport in the headrest. I did sell my LS and it had that, and I always liked it because when you took a selfie, I know it's silly, when I took a selfie, you'd see the F Sport logo. I think it was so cool. Okay, what else is going on here? So we have this big center console. The armrest opens up both ways. Inside, it's pretty deep. We have cup holders, and they're ones that you can make deeper and shallower. It's adjustable. We have wireless charger, which is standard on all models for 2026. It is a great place to just put your phone in charge and not look at your phone or be distracted by it. Just remember that it's there, because I go in stores all the time and I'm like, oh, go to pay with Apple Pay, and my phone is in my car in that little cavity. We have some USB-C ports. This one does have auto park features, so that's kind of cool. I've tried it at some restaurants just to show off to my friends. It worked flawlessly when I did it, but would I use it all the time? Probably not, because I just, you know, it's sometimes quicker to park, but it's still pretty quick. How you use it is you just line yourself up with a parking spot. You press that button on the screen, it'll show you a bird's eye view and what parking spaces you can choose. You choose one, the car now does everything for you. You can see the wheel turning, you can see the accelerator and the brake get pressed. It is kind of cool. You also just have the regular bird's eye view that you can activate whenever you're driving slow. We have some different terrain modes. We have traction control off. You can override the auto off feature, and there is downhill assist there too. The shifter, it's funny because I got so used to it so quick, but I forget sometimes it takes some getting used to, because what happens is you put it in gear and then it snaps back, and then you can just press P to put it in park. The screen is a huge improvement over the last generation, the 2022 generation. I would say if you're watching this video and you have the older RXs, this screen might be enough of a difference for you to upgrade to this one. And I'm gonna show you why. So yes, it's big and clear and sharp to use, but also it's just so easily integrated into my life. Things like wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got some great visuals, especially in like the hybrid versions of this car. It's so easy to use. We have our heated seats, our cooled seats, our heated steering wheel, all through that. There's quick buttons to be able to get to like our safety features, which by the way, I should go through those for you right now. We have lane departure alert system. We have parking support brake. We have blind spot monitoring. We have intuitive parking assist. We have safe exit assist. So if someone's coming down the road and you're about to open your door, it'll override you. Rear camera detection. We have proactive driving assist. That's one of my favorite features. I've done full videos on this before. It's like a safety bubble around your car as you're driving. So if you're taking the kids to school and someone runs out in front of you, it'll see that and react. But also too, even if the car in front of you just slows down a little bit, the car will react. And that's pretty cool and safe. I always turn it on. But I'm gonna turn it off for test drives. Rear cross traffic alert, roadside assist. I love roadside assist. So what that is there's a little display with lots of icons here. And when you're, you know, driving on the road and it picks up a sign, it'll show it there and just hold it there. So even if you weren't paying attention and you missed the fact that there's no left turns on red, no right turns on green, I don't know, right turns on red, it'll show you there, and it's a nice little reminder. That's come in handy a few times for me. And that's pretty much it. We have HUD display, and oops, I almost just showed you a secret feature that is new for 2026. This is huge, guys. I'm telling you right now, it is the security sensor. So now 2026 RX has extra security and anti-theft systems standard into it. And a lot of them they won't even tell us about because they want to stay 10 steps ahead of the thieves. So theoretically, if you live in an area where RXs have been targeted for auto thefts, that's gonna change that. And by the way, that's also gonna change insurance rates. So if you got priced out an insurance quote on a 2025, the 2026 should be cheaper because it has a new plethora of anti-theft systems. That's legit. I love that. That's gonna change things. So that's pretty much the screen in a nutshell. The other screen is the one past our steering wheel here. It's very crisp. This has been updated over the last couple of years. It's not the same as it launched with in 2023. This is more what we've seen with like TX and some other of the later models. You can customize it between like some preset meter displays. All of them have great animations. They're totally customizable. I always find one that I like and just kind of stick with it. But if you wanted to like move the animations around, you definitely can. I will find as cars are getting newer, there's so many icons on there. So it is important to have it set up in a way that you're going to be able to see everything and like what you see and how you see it. You might notice a little, oh, you know what I just noticed? I can actually turn the wheel right now and the car's not even on. There is a driver monitoring system here. So that does two things. One, it makes sure that I stay awake and alive. And if something happened to me where I wasn't awake and alive, the car will shut down and pull over, which is kind of cool. It also once in a while tells me to keep my eyes on the road. It also is a necessary part of the traffic jam assist. So if you're driving to Toronto or New York City or LA or wherever you're from, Miami, and you hit traffic, a lot of times it's like such a bore. But now the car can say, hey Dustin, I noticed you hit some traffic. You want to just take a little break? And you can let go of the brake, let go of the gas, let go of the steering wheel. And as long as you keep your head forward and don't pick up your phone or anything, the car will drive itself in that slow bumper to bumper traffic. Gives you a little bit of a break. If I start to look away, it'll kick off. If I start to, you know, whatever, doze off or look at my phone, it'll also kick off. But it is a really cool feature to use. Another cool feature that takes some getting used to is going to be the intelligent steering wheel controls. Now, I did a whole video on these on the Performance Lexus channel, how to use them, how to set them up. I like them. I think they're quick and easy once you have them set up. And I'm looking up at the heads-up display, by the way, when I'm doing that. So that's another really, really cool thing. The last thing I forgot to mention is the digital rear view mirror. So you can just flip that switch. It turns it into a camera. It's really great for when you have people in the back seat that are tall, or, you know, if your trunk is full to the top with wine cases or something like that. It's nice to be able to see all the way to the back like that. Another thing I want to mention that you might not get from the website is going to be the illumination or the ambient lighting. It's not a direct light, it's called indirect ambient lighting, but you can change some themes from like sunset to dawn to warm white, daylight white, etc. Or you can just crank that soldier boy and you can customize it yourself. You can customize it by zone, you can pick the color, you can change the intensity, all of those things. And also as part of this package, you have eliminated door sill protectors. Usually you'd have to pay for that as an accessory, but on this Blackline Edition, it does come with it. Okay, so let's talk about the back seat because the RX is designed well back here. I do have this front one very far back. It wouldn't need to be that far back, but my legs still don't touch it. I'm 6'1", my head fits nice, my legs fit nice, and because this one is fully jammed, I can even power recline this seat. Even on the lower packages, you can just manually recline it, but it is nice to be able to power recline it. And the back seat doesn't take any shortcuts. We still have a Mark Levinson sound system back here. We have ultra suede. We have ultra suede on the seat inserts as well, just like on the front. We have an armrest that comes down and is super chillin' with some cup holders that fold out and a little spot to keep your snacks. Or, I mean, how gangster would that be if you already had snacks ready to go for your passengers, especially if you're headed for a night on the town. Also, we have cooled seats back here. That's super rare in the Lexus world to have cooled back seats. Usually you have to get like a flagship for that. So heated and cooled, we got USB-Cs. This one doesn't have the curtains that come up, but some of the packages have that. It does have the panel roof, which I really like. So being back here, that roof with the layout of the inside of this very wide midsize SUV makes it that even for four or five adults in this car, you can all be super comfortable and not have to worry too much about like, you know, is everybody comfortable? Is everybody, you know, feeling claustrophobic, etc. Lexus did a good job of making it usable for everybody. So under the hood is a very tried and true 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged, of course. And the interesting thing about Lexus's turbos is a lot of manufacturers sublet out their turbo design to, you know, places like Garrett or HKS. With Lexus, it's all made in-house. And that's how we've been able to retain, I keep saying we, I am not Lexus, I just work for Lexus and I'm passionate about Lexus. It's how Lexus has been able to still retain so great of reliability ratings and low maintenance by doing it all in-house. So is the turbocharger the biggest in the business? No, but it's very reliable. It's got a punchy driving experience to it. It's amazing on fuel economy and it's all built in-house here. It even says turbo on the top of that engine. The engine is mounted lower than the previous model V6. because, you know, the handling aspect. And it does feel better in handling. And I remember when this came out back in 2023, we had so many people freaking out. They're like, oh, I'm not trading in my V6 because, you know, it's a 4-cylinder. Actually, one of my favorite guests said that, and I know he watches this channel. You know who you are. I told him, just come drive it. Just come drive it. I promise you, it's not missing anything. Is the sound a little different? Yeah, because it doesn't sound like a V6. It sounds like a turbo 4-cylinder, a turbo high-performance 4-cylinder. And Lexus did a really good job with that for both the handling aspect, the power delivery, and of course the fuel economy. And also, how great is it that you have the option right now? The 2026 RX comes with the internal combustion turbo version, which we have here, but it also has the 350h, which is our hybrid option. It has our 500h, which is our turbo and hybrid option, high performance together. And I think it's just great that there is an option because a lot of manufacturers do not have that right now. You are forced into one of those. I should touch on driving experience. So with the turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, as I mentioned, there is enough get up and go for a midsize SUV like this. What's most impressive about the RX is when it launched in 2016, they wanted to come up with an SUV that rode like a midsize sedan, meaning a super smooth, quiet, heavy interior in a package that's more useful to a wider audience of people. Now the F-Sport does tighten that up a little bit. We have a little bit tighter suspension. We have different drive modes like Eco, Normal, and Sport really does, you know, add to that throttle response. It adds to that stiffer suspension. The brakes do feel a little bit peppier in those Sport models. But let's say you would rather drive something like a couch down the road. If you went with like an executive or a luxury package, that would give you that really cushiony, soft feeling ride. And also, if you were to opt for one of the hybrid options we have, that's a really smooth in-city car that you don't even feel any vibrations and stuff like that a lot of time from stoplight to stoplight. However, if you want a little extra pep for that getting on the highway or winding that engine up, the RX350 can be fun to drive. Sounds like a high performance 4-cylinder engine because it is one, and you'll find yourself even taking the long way home and not feeling fatigued that you did it. And that is why, one of the many reasons why it's been such a staple in the Lexus lineup for as long as it has. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the RX350, if there's anything that I should cover that I haven't covered, or if there's any vehicles, both Lexus and other in the world, that I should do a similar video on this.